Let's talk about the Olympics, shall we? And the NCAA, and student and alumni athletes. Um, yeah, I've got some charts on a blog post on the Sagittarius Project, where I go into all things fun, non-political, um, and a lot of sports and travel. I was hoping other Sagittarians would talk about fun things, but they haven't. It hasn't caught on. So oh well. But the first question is, okay, what if you have Europe and Africa and the Commonwealth behave like a country? Because to a extent, each one is a nation. The EU's got a currency. The African Union's got an army. And BRICS is another block. And the Commonwealth, of course, if you are in the Commonwealth and they change the rules of succession, you get a vote. That means you're part of a nation, or an empire. So it exists. So what if we counted Olympic medals that way? I've got a chart that shows what happens. So, that's chart one. Chart two is a take on chart one. It talks about the games. There's the Pan American Games, the African Games, the Asian Games, the European Games. And it shows how many medals came from each of those groupings. So it's a little different. Which brings us to NCAA athletes who live here most of the year, but play for other teams. I got a table for that. I have a list of the nations. Two-thirds of NCAA Olympians, and I'm counting the Olympians and the medals. So the medals that were distributed to physical people are what I'm counting, and two-thirds go to the American team, but a third don't, and I got a listing of where they go. So that's something. And then the next listing is what schools did the best. Stanford, and it shows anybody where there's been 5 medals. Medals. People can have more than one medal, and everybody on the team gets a medal. So it's the medal maximum for NCAA athletes and alums. And I didn't hit the ones that were under 5. So that's on the blog. One final one. It's the one that's the thumbnail for this. It's a simple question. And a fun question. What about conferences? Who won the conference wars on the Olympics? Both American and overseas athletes, including the guy who was raised in Louisiana, who's a Swede, and won the record and was interviewed and had a Louisiana drawl, but he's on the Swedish team and got the world record. Like I said, which conference? It's the SEC, and they and the ACC kind of tied. It's on the blog. So I will link to the blog, and you can see for yourself. I'm surprised that's not published on any website. So it's published here. And I went all the way down to Division III with my conferences. So I didn't do the Division III conferences. I used Division III as a conference. So, and 2 and 1. So yeah, have fun with it. Free use, because I'm using the NCAA stuff free. So yeah, shout far and wide the bragging rights for the Big Ten, the ACC, and the SEC. So, toodaloo.